welcome back to The Hermes Show, your number one podcast slash talk show slash news source in all of the afterlife. Rated 5 stars by Mr. Zeus himself, God o' Gods. Now today on The Hermes Show, we have a special guest joining us. Recently arrived to the afterlife, the immortal mortal himself, Mr. Achilles.
Yes, Mr. Hermes. I thank you for having me on this show.
Yes, of course, Achilles. It's great to have you on our show. Now, I have a couple of questions to ask you in this interview. First, how did you arrive here? I mean, we're all curious, but I don't think any of us are dying to know anytime soon. But seriously, tell us.
My journey? Well, it all started whenever my mother dipped me in the Styx, a mythical body of water, from the advice of a god. But she missed a spot on my ankle and my heel, which was where she held me up by. It prevented me from achieving 100% immortality. I fought in the Great Trojan War against Troy, but I withdrew from the battle out of anger when Agamemnon took my love Briseis from me. Though I died on earth, I was still called immortal and great by other mortals. I slayed great fighters like Hector after I rejoined the war a second time. My journey did not end with the roar from a giant beast or from many swords of Trojan leaders, but with a single arrow, guided by the hand of a god. I died trying to take as many Trojans with me to the afterlife as I could, but I eventually fell to the dust.
Wow, such an action-packed story. Next up, could you tell me about Patroclus?
It's Patroclus.
Thank you. And what did his death do to you?
Patroclus was more than a friend. He was my brother. He wore my armor to protect our men when I refused to fight. And my stubbornness ended up being the death of him. It shattered me, but I barely grieved. Patroclus' death awakened something inside of me I didn't even know was there. I rejoined the war, not for glory, but to achieve vengeance for my brother. I hunted Hector like a hawk, and I showed no mercy. Patroclus' death tore away my pride and left only fury. In the end, I would have traded my fame, my strength, my very life, just to bring him back. And I miss him so much.
Such a sad story. Next up, if the gods gave you another 24 hours to live, but you couldn't kill anyone, what would you do? How would you spend your last day on the planet of Earth?
24 hours? Honestly, Hector's father opened my eyes towards the end of my life when I realized that there are more important things to life than just war. Of course, after giving Hector's body back to King Priam, I went back to war. I did it for my fellow Greek soldiers, so that they would have a chance at winning what they already worked so hard for. But once I won the war, I would have gone back to my hometown of Pythia, and I would have spent time with my parents and living siblings. And if I get the blessing to go back to Earth, I would probably do just that. I can't imagine what my father would have done if someone dragged my body through the dust for 12 days like I did with Hector. I have heard since arriving here that my funeral was quite grand. I also heard Odysseus got my armor, which I am pleased with. He was a good soldier. But to answer your question, I would try to smile for once without blood on my fingers. And I would try to enjoy life peacefully.
Aww. How sweet, Achilles. And since we're on the topic of killing, what motivated you to treat Hector like that?
What motivated me? Fury, grief, rage, despair, and I don't know what else. I felt so many different emotions that I couldn't comprehend. Hector didn't just kill Patroclus. He stripped me of the one person who I could always count on. Dragging his body for 12 days and 12 nights in the dust wasn't as much justice as it was pure pain. I wanted everyone in Troy to feel what he had done to me. And I don't care that his son saw his careless, emotionless dad being dragged through the dust like the snake that he was. He deserved every minute of it. And I understand the other gods hate me for how disrespectful I was. But let them see that he gave me pain, so I gave him hell. You don't need to side with me either, Hermes. I understand you'll likely side with the other gods, until they can hopefully see my perspective.
Wow, I don't want to pick any sides here and get political or mythological, but I can see why you did what you did. And I know you must have been filled with so many different emotions at the time. Lastly, what do you want the mortals in Greece and Troy to remember you by? How do you want your legacy to live on?
Let the other mortals on earth remember me as more than a tool for Greece. I was a fire, brilliant and untamed, but I crumbled to ashes too soon. I want Greece to remember the warrior who gave everything for his country and for glory. And I want Troy to remember their greatest enemy warrior, and let them fear me to this day. My legacy isn't just in the battles I won. It's in the choices I made for my country.
Very inspiring, Achilles, and thank you for being on the Hermes Show.
Again, Hermes, thank you for having me.
Of course. Everybody, give it up for Achilles. And that is all for today on the Hermes Show. Thank you, everybody, and good night.